Well, coming through to the kind of 90s, and one of the ways that some people might have first heard your name
Mm-hmm.
isn't necessarily through your own work, but it's
Okay.
through the work of Half Man, Half Biscuit.
Sure, yeah.
So can you tell me about how you heard about the song, The Bastard Son of Dean Friedman?
Well, my friend Andy, who lived in London, called me, and he explained that there was this band outside of Liverpool that had a best-selling EP with a track on it titled "The Bastard Son of Dean Friedman," and I thought it was just a joke. I thought it was kidding until I landed at Heathrow Airport, and he met me there with this EP, and I said, "Fuck me! There's the title, "The Bastard Son of Dean Friedman." And it was a little, disconcerting at first, until I sat down and did the math, and I calculated in order for me to have sired this guy Nigel Blackwell, lead singer-songwriter for Half Man Half Biscuit, I would have had to have done so when I was 7. So greatly relieved, I finally sat down to listen to it, and it's a great tune. It's hilarious. Nigel's a terrific songwriter. Half Man Half Biscuit are a kicking band. But even then, I swear that one day I would extract my revenge. And I finally did, with a tune called A Baker's Tale.
Which I believe you ended up performing with them as well.
I did. It tells the untold story of the dubious origins of one Nigel Blackwell of Half Man Half Biscuit. And I'd met them once at the Fringe, actually, in Edinburgh, years back. But after I put out that song, A Baker's Tale, they invited me to perform it at one of their gigs in Wolverhampton, and I was a little nervous, but by the second chorus, their whole audience was singing along, and at the end of the show, I joined them on stage for a rousing rendition of The Bastard Son of Dean Friedman.
And so you mentioned the Edinburgh Fringe there,
Yeah.
and that's how I know you is from
Absolutely.
a decade ago,
Yeah.
first doing sound for you at the Fringe. And then since then you've had Submarine Races, you've had probably your most prolific period of albums, I'd say, is actually the more modern kind of period.
I guess so, now that you mention it. There was, as you said, between Rumpled Romeo and the Treehouse Runners, it was almost a 17-year gap.
Yeah.
And actually Song for Grown-Ups was right in the middle of there. But with the advent of the internet and a website early on, I had a bunch of tunes that I'd written. I was ready to go back in the studio, but I needed money to upgrade the studio and pay musicians. And so I wrote a letter to all the folks on my email list, and I said, look, ready to record. If you pre-order a CD, I'll be able to record the album and pay the musicians, and I'll deliver a new album. Because I just didn't want to wait another, decade or two for some record label to give me permission to make a new album or to be a recording artist.
And then you've got, I know your son, he plays on some of your more modern stuff, doesn't he? He plays, I think, harmonica.
Oh, sure, yeah. Sam's a killer musician and plays everything, keyboards and vibes and harmonica. And so both my kids have played or sung on my albums, but I can't afford them anymore. They they have real jobs.
So what's next for you?
Yeah, that's a good question, Sharpie. Because I love touring, but I'm less enamored of all the traveling and the schlepping around. So I do aspire to do fewer dates.
Yeah.
But I got to figure out how to make more
you're
money.
doing more this year.
Well, I'm doing it.
Within Edinburgh, at least you're doing it.
I'm doing a longer run in Edinburgh, but overall I'm doing fewer dates and coming over for shorter stretches of time. But I'll never stop touring. It's just I just got to make it more manageable. And I'll never stop recording or writing songs. It's just what I do. And because of that early effort of crowdfunding, which is successful, I've been crowdfunding my albums ever since.
What's your most recent one? 12 songs?
American Lullaby.
American
was
Lullaby.
The latest. 12 songs was right before that. And again, it's all through the good graces of my listening audience that makes it possible.
Awesome. Well, thanks for taking the time to speak to us. It's been
Pleasure. Good to see
kind
you.
of just take a brief soiree through it from the start.
My ridiculous
to where you are
career.
now. It's been varied, and I've enjoyed listening to it. So thank you very much.
Good to see you, man.